Hey friends, Scott Barber here with a reflection from the Rev. It's Tuesday and it's a little bit gloomy out there today. So I hope that hope you're letting the love of Jesus shine in your heart and your life, even though we can't see the real sun shining out here. We don't let our circumstances determine our joy, right? And our perspective on life. That's what this is all about. These reflections from the Rev is to help us get perspective, because we are prone to allowing our circumstances determine how we feel and how we think and our perspective on life. Well, today, as we continue through Philippians chapter 2, the question I have for us today and for you is, are you a hoarder or are you a helper? Are you a hoarder or a helper? At the beginning of this coronavirus outbreak, everybody, the headlines and so many memes on the internet were all about the toilet paper being hoarded, right? And people are just wondering, why, for a respiratory disease, do you need toilet paper? So there's a response when we feel afraid that we're not going to get what we need, we're not going to be taken care of. When we go into survival mode, we think of ourselves, and we're out to just get ours. And Paul is explaining here in these words that when we encounter Christ, there's a different reaction under stress and under pressure, under brokenness, under pain and suffering. There's a different reaction inside of us. Let me read here, Philippians 2 verses 1 through 7. So if there's any encouragement in Christ, any comfort from love, any participation in the Spirit, any affection and sympathy, complete my joy by being of the same mind, having the same love, being in full accord and of one mind. That doesn't mean we don't disagree. What that means is that we see each other as on the same team, and though we don't attack each other when we do disagree. We are of one mind. We're headed in the same direction. We do nothing out of rivalry or conceit, but in humility count others as more significant than ourselves. Let each other not look to his own interests, but also to the interests of others. So let's have the mind of Christ among you, who, though he was in the form of God, he did not consider equality with God something to be grasped. But he made himself nothing, taking the form of a servant, being born in the likeness of men. I want to focus here on these last couple verses that have the mind of Christ, who, though he was in the form of God, did not consider equality with God something to be grasped. All right, this word also means hoarded. All right, he didn't consider his divinity, or the power and glory, the omnipotence, the sovereignty, that he could be all places at once, his control, his ability to influence and change, and all of this, he didn't consider it something to be hoarded for himself, but made himself nothing in the likeness of you and I, becoming the form of a servant. God, Jesus, instead of taking all of that power and glory and judging us, which he rightly can do, because we're sinners, we've rebelled against him. We said, screw you. I don't want your way. I want my way. I want to be in control. Forget you. He has the right to judge us. We all deserve that. We all deserve hell. But what did he do? All that glory, all that power, all that holiness and righteousness, he served you and I with it. He could have demanded his rights over us, but he served and he loved. He came and stood in our place to serve us. Consider, you and I, to have this same mindset of Jesus. How can we use what we have to bless others, to serve others? Maybe it's mobility. Maybe it's you're not as afraid to get out in the midst of the crisis here. You're not afraid to get out in the midst of the coronavirus. You don't have that fear that others have. How can you use that confidence, that comfortability and peace to serve? Maybe it's to take meals to people who are unable to get out or who are afraid to get out. Maybe you can use that freedom to serve others. Maybe you have material possessions and you can use those to serve those in need right now. Maybe you have mental health and you can be an encouragement, a place of peace and support and lifting up others who are succumbed to darkness right now. Jesus used his power, his glory, his everything that was God in him to serve us rather than to judge us, rather than to demand from us. He used it to serve. How can you, in the conversations you have with others, use maybe you're right, but how can you love and serve others in that and not just demand to be right? How can you bless others with what you have? If we're going to take the mind of Christ, then we don't hoard. We don't hold on to things and think just of ourselves. We use what we have for others. That's the mind of Christ. Friends, we can be better, and we can make our community better because of Jesus. I hope that he blesses you so you can bless others. Have a great day.